The Austin Princess is a series of large luxury cars that were made by Austin and its subsidiary Vanden Plas from 1947 to 1968.
The first Austin Princess A120 was launched in 1947, as the most expensive flagship model in the Austin range at the same time as the A110 Austin Shearline, designed during the war, which body was built on the same chassis at Longbridge. The A110 produced 10 less horsepower, being fitted with a single carburetor. Both cars always had bodies that were massive and heavy in appearance. The Princess, model code A120, featured a body by the coach builder Vanden Plas and was a large saloon or limousine. The car was offered with two distinct interiors. The DM, or limousine type, had a sliding glass partition between the driver and rear passengers plus picnic tables, and the DS was the saloon. The saloons were successful as a top executive car. Many Princesses, and Shearlines, for that matter, were bought for civic ceremonial duties or by hire companies as limousines for hire. The standard saloon weighed almost 2 tons, was 16 feet 9 inches long and 6 feet 1¼ inches wide on a 10-foot 1¼ inch, the short wheelbase. The Princess model was updated over the years through Mark I, A120, Mark II, A135, and Mark III versions, the largest variation being the introduction of the long-wheelbase version in 1952 with a longer body and 7 seats. Apart from that, the bodywork and running gear hardly changed, nor did the D-Series 4-liter straight-six engine. The radiator was fairly upright in old-fashioned style and the car had separate front wings, but these cars were always more modern in style than the equivalent-sized Bentley Mark VI or Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud and, for the saloon, the price was just a little more than 2/3 of the Rolls-Royce. From August 1957 the Austin part of the badging was dropped so it could be sold by Nuffield dealerships as Princess. From May 1960, the Vanden Plas name was added in front of Princess. In 1947, Austin produced two virtually identical chassis, one for the A110, later A125 Shearline, built entirely by Austin at their Longbridge factory, and the A120, later A135, chassis used by Vanden Plas to produce the Princess at their Kingsbury Works, North London. Although Vanden Plas was by now wholly owned by Austin and much of the running gear and instrumentation was the same in the two cars, the Princess was the Austin flagship, with a higher specification leather, wool and burr walnut interior. The original Princess was powered by a 3.5-liter straight-six engine. This was enlarged to a 4.0-liter unit without further modifications. The Princess was often built to order. Customers could specify the color required and a range of different setups were available. These included triple or single carburetors and twin or single exhaust systems. Whilst the sportier multiple carb version performed better, it achieved only 12 to 14 mpg. The single carburetor version gave slightly better fuel consumption. Performance was good for a car of its size, with a top speed of 90 miles per hour, 140 kilometers per hour, and acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 20 seconds. In 1950, the limousine version was introduced. The chassis length and passenger area were enlarged to enable a pair of drop-down seats to be mounted on the rear of the front seats and a glass division was standard. These early cars are now extremely rare, especially the saloon versions. Many of the saloons were converted for use as taxis in the late 1950s, fitted with Perkins diesel engines for better economy. The 3,993cc six-cylinder engine was also fitted, as a petrol option seldom taken up, to the Austin and Morris normal control, bonnetted WEC and WFK commercial vehicles. During the life of this model, in 1952, Austin became part of the British Motor Corporation, BMC. The Austin D and K series engines are a straight-six engine made by the British Austin Motor Company between 1939 and 1968. It was developed initially for the lorry market, but was used in a number of automobiles in its later life. It was an overhead valve non-crossflow cylinder head design. Both block and head were made out of cast iron. All engines had a forged four-main bearing crankshaft. The engine was developed under the close watch of Austin chief Leonard Lord. The design was inspired by the Chevrolet Stovebolt engine, which was an inline six-cylinder engine that was used by General Motors' British subsidiary Bedford Vehicles. In the late 1930s, when rival Austin decided to get into the 2 to 3 ton payload lorry market and in a crash development program based the design on the basic architecture of this, Austin however made detail improvements to the Chevrolet design. Austin's engineers added detachable shell main and connecting rod bearings and pressurized lubrication. The initial design had an engine displacement of 3,460 cc. During the Second World War, Austin increased the bore and stroke to enlarge it into a 3,995 cc engine which produced 87 bhp, 65 kilowatts. The larger engine was put in military trucks beginning in 1940. Both engine sizes were in production after the war. When the carburetor was changed from Zenith to Stromberg, it produced 100 bhp, 75 kilowatts. Truck engines had K designations and car engines had D designations. The Princess was produced by Austin and its subsidiary Vanden Plas from 1947 to 1968, when it was supplanted by the Daimler DS 420. The mainstay of many a hire fleet and civic carpool, it was available in two guises, the saloon, DS, or limousine, DM, which had a sliding glass partition. There was little difference between the original Mk1, A120, and the Mk2, A135, models, both of which were powered by the same 3,995 cc OHV-6 engine and capable of accelerating to 60 miles per hour in around 20 seconds and on to a terminal speed of 90 miles per hour.
Thank you for watching British super luxury automobiles during 1950 to 1960.